Visualizations on a dashboard can pull from a variety of data sources. There are three primary data source types: inline searches, saved searches, and chain searches. The ds.search data source type is for ad hoc or inline searches that run when a dashboard is loaded, refreshed, or affected by any inputs on the dashboard. Inline searches can be changed automatically in the visual editor or manually in the source editor. The ds.saved search source type is for saved searches. Saved searches can be scheduled and accelerated, reducing stress on your environment created by concurrently running searches. The ds.chain source type lets you link multiple visualizations to a single base search. Once any of these data sources has been added to a dashboard, it can be used by any other visualization on the same dashboard. If a visualization that references a data source is deleted, the data source will still be available on the dashboard. Additionally, there is one more data source type, called ds.test. It is primarily used for testing and development situations. While most everything you will do in Dashboard Studio can be accomplished in either the visual or source editor, creating mock data with the ds.test source type must be done in the source editor. Let's take a look at some similarities that all data sources share in the dashboard definition. First, if we add a search to a visualization in the visual editor, it creates a unique stanza for it in the data sources section. Each data source will also contain a unique ID that is referenced twice, once in the data sources section, but also in the visualization stanza. This value should be customized to aid in easy identification. For type, you should expect to see one of the four previously mentioned data source options: ds.search, saved search, chain, or test. The ds. Is a required prefix syntax for all types. Finally, you can expect to see a time range, as all data source time ranges are controlled by the default global time range picker, except ds.saved search. This can also be overridden or customized in the visual editor, or by adding earliest and latest directly in the JSON source code. Let's take a look at how some of these data sources appear in the visual and source editors. We begin by clicking on the Data Sources menu. From here, we see an option of Create Search, which adds a ds.search data source. A section for saved searches adds a ds.saved search data source. And finally, the option Create Chain Search, which adds a ds.chain data source. By clicking Create Search, we'll want to first name the data source, so it's more easily identified, and then write out the search query we want to execute. Following that, we see three time range options. Input allows control by the time range input. With static, the time range is set by the search. And with default, the time range is set by the dashboard source default. We will select default and finish up by clicking Apply and Close. Now we see our new ds.search data source visible in the configuration panel under Data Configurations. Let's add a bar chart to the dashboard. To use the data source we just added, we select Cancel, then Set Primary Data Source, and choose Cafe Sales. I'd like to add a scheduled report to the dashboard as well. To do this, let's save our dashboard, then navigate to the Reports tab on the app bar of the Search and Reporting app. We begin by locating the report name and selecting Open in Search. From there, we verify the results, select Save As, then Existing Dashboard. Next, we select the name of the dashboard to add the report to. At the bottom of the menu, we have an option to name the panel, select the visualization type, and under Advanced Panel Settings, how the panel will be powered. If you select Inline Search, Splunk will add the search as a ds.search data source. Whereas if Report is selected, Then it will add the search as a ds.savedSearch data source. We will select Report, Save to Dashboard, and finally View Dashboard. Now let's enter Edit mode and adjust the newly added panel. Selecting the data source's configuration menu once more, we confirm the data source has been added. When we examine the source code, there are a couple of differences between the two data sources. Under the ds.savedSearch data source, we see ref appear under Options. Ref is referencing the scheduled report query and time range. You may also find an app property. If omitted, it will be assumed it's within the currently running app. In contrast, the ds.search data source has a query property with the search that will execute. It will also contain a query parameter property if you've selected a custom time range. Scrolling down a little further, let's shift our focus to the mock data that's been added by this ds.test data source. Specifically for the ds.test source type, creating mock data will require the addition of columns and fields under Options in the data stanza. This allows you to create column events and field values manually. The column and field options order are unimportant, but you must have the same number of column values as field names. The data in the columns are comma delimited and surrounded by brackets, whereas the fields or key value pairs appear in curly brackets. So our first grouping is time, the second grouping is actual, and the third grouping of values is predicted.